Today we're going to work on some texture wrapping techniques using a new texture tool. This technique will be using about 12 to 15 rods. To achieve that, we will be using condensed bases larger than our section. We will be using zigzag sectioning to create an irregular parting. Combing everything smooth to have control. We will do a double flat technique with our end papers. Roll down to your base and secure your elastic across the top. Again, condensed section, zigzag for irregular partings, off base, double flat. And the trend or technique that we are going for today is inspired by the 20s flapper and also very glam, modern, more like the Great Gatsby that's very in fashion now. We're down to the side area now, so we're going to drop down our diameter of our tool and continuing to work off base. As you can see, our model has a graduated bob that has been razor cut or texture cut. So by doing a double flat technique, you're able to capture all of those irregular links, and by using this specific texture tool, you're able to enhance that cut by using an irregular shaped tool to create more movement. By dropping down our tool's diameter, we're going to create more lift and volume on the sides to create that 20s kind of look with the fullness and the waves through the side. Again, you determine your section by going wider than your tool. And another great feature of these tools is the irregularity of the shape, that you can see that you're going to get more uneven curls, tight and loose and tight and loose, as well as the unique patented design of the rod. The elastic will prevent the hair from having a buckle or a crimp mark where the band sits. There is room for the hair to freely float there. Measuring your section, going larger. And the purpose of all of these techniques are to be able to deliver texture services in the salon without having to take a lot of time. Securing across. Moving the elastic to a comfortable place so it stays secure, not loose, but not creating a crimp on the hair by over tightening it. We want it to sit very freely. We will now begin to drop down our diameter again. And by being off base, it's going to give a more relaxed texture through the top area, where it's not having a lot of lift and the fullness will expand through the sides. But to prevent it from being too wide through the side area and just getting some lift, we're working off base. When you're working in the shorter areas, by doing a double flap technique and gently wetting the ends of your end papers, you're able to expand the paper past the length of the hair to get more tension on the hair to be able to secure it in place. So it gives you an extra rotation or revolution. and then you're able to keep it off base, but still secure the hair properly. Moving into the back region. If you want to create more lift in the crown area, you can start to move more on base. And again, using your texture tool as a guide for the width of your section, but you can have more depth to it. Your regular sections by doing a zigzag motion, combing smooth. Again, your double flat technique works amazing to capture the irregular lengths in a textured haircut. And now we're going to begin to match up with our side area and drop down our diameter. So the idea of these techniques is to use technique and precision, but you don't necessarily need to rush. So take your time on precision sectioning, precision combing, and seeing how your rod is stable and setting on the base without having to rush. Combing the hair smooth and down. Another great trick is if you're working on a graduated form where there's different lengths or layers, move the rod or the tool directly in front of that section that you're wrapping. So that way you're able to encompass that hair without having any little pieces pop or fly out. Gently mist your hair to keep it evenly damp. Gives you a little bit more control when you're working with your tools. In this section, I'm going to go slightly more diagonal. Instead of being horizontal, I'm going to go a little bit more diagonal to help the transition. And if any shorter pieces fall, let them just lay back in with the rest of the hair. Slightly off base. Double flat for length. Gently saturate. And then work into the center. Slight diagonal here. And by using the zigzag irregular sections, you're able to melt or blend into the shorter hair in the underneath. It will not be texturing. So it'll be a nice transition into the shorter, more cropped hair with the wave and the texture. I'll do one more here in the center. Smaller section. And we use a medium-sized tool here just to help transition into the back and the bottom. And I will be going more off base with this section, so dragging down. And secure. If there are any areas where you have more stubborn or resistant hair, double check or re-roll once. If it happens a third time, A great technique is to come through with your waving solution or your processing solution and actually apply a little bit to that section as you're wrapping, and that's going to help to soften any coarse textured hair to lay a little easier and fall into place and begin the texturing service. That you missed. You don't want to over wet the hair, but you want to keep it nicely moistened to be able to have control of that section. If you are re-wetting any of the sections, it's important to stand back and gently re-mist all of the hair. So that way you're going to have even porosity and not a dry section and a really wet section when you're finished. So check your areas. This one's tending to want to come out, so I will let that fall out. And I re-secure this one as well. Again, doing a double flat. I will turn towards you slightly. The thing was, I was not directly behind my section. I was dragging off, and that's why my ends popped out. So your body position is very important. And secure. Better. And this is our completed wrap. So we have a great Gatsby inspired flapper waves using off base large sections, using our wave rods and our texture tools, going on a graduated form from short, medium to large. And the underneath we will simply put barrier cream on and process according to manufacturer's directions for our texture solution that we will be working with.